Without further ado, let's get to it. Welcome back to another Wisdom Wednesday here on the Noom Vibe app. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, I am Sant Inspire, your guide, generating, uplifting, inspiring, developing, and empowering you to overcome fear, uncertainty, and doubt so that you can live inspired every day, forever, because that's life. Today, we're talking about the embrace, the embracing of your power by mastering the chaos within. As always, our intention is to uplift, empower, and inspire. And I think we do a great job at that. And as we talk about uplifting, empowering, and inspiring, we have to understand how that is affected by our mind, perception, and our actions. So in this discussion, we will explore that. We're going to explore what it means to embrace our personal power, what it means to step into alignment with the divine order and transforming that chaos into clarity. I can see clearly now that the pain is gone. So I want to start by asking, what means the world to you? Or better yet, what does power mean to you? Is it control over someone else or mastery over yourself? And if you're here, then you know we're not trying to control nobody else because we have hard enough time controlling ourselves, or at least understanding ourselves. So why would I want to control someone else unless I've decided to give up on myself? Because it's too hard to control myself. It's much easier to control someone else. At least that's what the thought process is. Yet that's not power. That's not true power. For power is not given, it's realized. To embrace power, we must first understand that we are not separate from it. So again, power is not given, it is realized. To embrace power, we must first understand that we are not separate from it. As always, we are going to use a multitude of different scriptures, how can we say it? I'll just keep it like that. We're going to use scriptures from all over because here it's about balance. Here's about bringing things together. And we are inclusive more than we are secluding ourselves. So you may hear quotes from the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran, the Torah. You may hear Taoism. You may hear quotes from some of your most favorite speakers, or maybe you've never heard of these people. The point is to understand how everything comes together, because that's how we truly understand ourselves. In order to master chaos within, we have to understand not only ourselves, but the things around us. And so, the first scripture that I want to start with is Luke 17:21. Why? Because it says, The kingdom of God is within you. However, prior to that, in 1720, it's going to say, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation, for the kingdom of God is within you. So as we're talking about embracing our power, as we're talking about mastering chaos within, we need to understand that we keep looking out, trying to find where is it, looking for the X that marks the spot, not realizing that it does not, you won't find it by trying to look for it because it's not out there. It's in there. It's in you. So while we all seemingly want to be more outside, we want to be a part of society, we want to be liked, loved, and accepted by everyone. We must ask, have we first accepted ourselves? Have you sought first the kingdom, or are you trying to observe it outside of you? Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching says, he who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. Again, first question that was asked of us was, what does power mean to you? Is it control over others or mastery over yourself? So when it says he who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior, we understand that by trying to conquer someone else doesn't mean you're stronger. It is not until you learn to conquer yourself, the battles that are fought from within determines who wins. The master and the divine order. As we talk about the nature of our power and how to bring order from chaos. Power is the ability to bring order to chaos. And I just want to do this real quick because it's bothering me. I have a video going and I keep looking down. And the reason why that's bothering me is because I'm looking at notes, yet they're my own notes. And why that's important is because this is about validation. It's about transparency. And I'm not going to lie. There's chaos in me right now. And I want to bring order to that because not comparing, but we see so much out there where it looks perfect. We're not understanding what goes on behind the scenes. You see videos where it seems like people are talking, looking dead at the camera, not understanding that there's editing that goes on that makes it look like they're looking at the camera when the whole time they were reading off a teleprompter or off of notes. And in my authenticity, I need you to understand that I put a lot of research into what I do. So yes, I have notes and I follow along with those notes in an attempt to keep me on task. Because, hey, listen, you've been here before, I can go on and on and on and on and on. Yet I want to be able to deliver a message to you without going too far. So I had to say that because as I'm understanding the nature of my power, as I'm understanding and mastering myself, that's something that is big for me. Authenticity. I don't ever want it to seem like that there is something in me that's not in you. So I don't care about necessarily looking perfect. I don't care if I look down because I'm looking at notations, making sure that I follow my notes that I wrote. Yet in this time, it seems that that's what everybody is chasing. They want it to make it seem like they're perfect, like there's nothing wrong. Everything needs to look crisp and clean. And then when we see it, we say, well, how are they able to look like that? How are they able to do that? I could never. You can. And so for me, to bring order to chaos, not by force, but through understanding, I am being transparent. And as I was actually thinking of what I would do today, today's been one of those days. And I allow myself to have these days because this is how I bring order to the chaos. You have to see it first to believe it. And so instead of being hard on myself because I want to do this right and I want to be perfect, I recognize what is perfection. And for me, perfection is you trip, you fail, you got up. You trip, you fail, you got up. You trip, you caught yourself. You didn't trip. It's a process. It's a journey. It's not something that I need to be right now. It's something that we look back on and it's a culmination. It's getting better. It's left, right, left, taking steps along the way. So normally I always publish a Wisdom Wednesday on my IG to let people know, hey, I'm talking today and you guys should come through. Yet today, I got distracted from that. Today, emotions hit. Not only is it the anniversary of my mother's birthday, and my mother's been deceased for a long time. Yet recently, within the past few years, I felt the need to show that appreciation, to celebrate, to commemorate. And that's where a lot of the emotion came in today. It wasn't simply just me being emotional. It seemed like everything, just little things that were happening. I went to pay my rent today after attempting to pay it the other day and having them say, well, we don't accept that payment anymore, but never given any notification about that. So then I had to go out of my way to do something else, to go to the bank and get a cashier's check to come back and drop it off just so then they can email me and say, hey, you're short this amount of money. And I'm like, how? Then I look at my bill. I said, no, this is what it is. Oh, here comes their magical calculations. And it was like, well, because of this, this, and that, here's this now. And it just felt like, damn, is one thing after another. Like, what? And I had to bring order because I was noticing the chaos. I'm talking about it was throwing me off, like irritation to the max, to the point where you just want to cuss somebody out. You just want to, But we're talking about bringing order to chaos, not expressing chaos. So I had to calm myself. I had to, like I always have to, apply the same things that I'm asking of you. I'd apply that to my own life. I had to take a deep breath. I had to journal. I had to reflect. I had to find a different way around this. Because to be honest, that's what people want. They want to be able to provoke you and then have you react to that. Yet it's up to us to not allow it. It's up to us to develop ourselves, our defense against that. Because we're always on offense. We're always offended. Yet we never understand how defense can be your greatest offense. You defend yourself from those emotions, not by expressing them all the time, by understanding them and deciding when and where. So you can't provoke that emotion out of me unless I want to express it. Because power is the ability to bring order to chaos, not by force, but through understanding. So as I understand myself, I recognize how I react to certain situations. And instead of forcing it, I determine how this is going to go. And so as I'm thinking, what am I going to talk about today? Because I don't have these talks pre-recorded. They're not pre-organized. There's a theme that I might have, and then I don't even know what I'm going to talk about next Wednesday until maybe that week or sometime along this week. It's got to come to me. Again, not by force. I was sitting down and I was talking, and I was talking out loud as I normally do. And I realized as I keep trying to do everything myself, this is causing a problem. How am I going to bring order to something if I don't really understand what's going on? How am I going to bring order if I'm not the one that's in control? Because I've been in control. And when I was in control, them emotions might get expressed. We might crash out. We might. And then there was a journal entry that I read of my own that reminded me that God is the only one who can make proper order out of chaos. So why am I fighting? What is it that I want to do? If I'm struggling, what is the cause of that? And so as I sat with that thought and saw my journal entry, it reminded me that to become the master is to align within divine wisdom. Not to claim superiority and say, I am the greatest, I'm the man, I can do this by myself. It's to embody the ability to bring clarity, structure, and purpose. To remind myself that God is the only one who can make proper order out of chaos. So, what areas of my life feel the most chaotic? And how can you bring order to them? This is what I asked. And now this is what I ask of you. What areas of your life feel chaotic? And how can you bring them into order? And you must first identify that. For to identify it is to begin to understand it, and then you will know what to let go of. Before that, I was just, oh, help me. Oh, please, please. I don't know. I had to sit down, relax. Wait a minute. What areas really feel chaotic? Because it's not everything. And how can I bring order to them? Or how can I bring them into order? Normally, when this happens, I would go, I would start thinking. And when you start thinking, that is you. You go, that's you thinking. And you're now trying to problem solve. And have we ever recognized that when we start thinking and try to problem solve, what we think of as more problems? How am I do this? I ain't got enough of this. I don't have enough of that. I can't do this. I can't do that. We think in problems. So as you think of the problem, to solve it, I would go, if this, then what? Because I want to solve the problems. And I've been around technology and I've been around developers and encoding, and the way that influenced me a lot. I learned a lot from this. And if you've been here before, I've actually said this. So this is a correction of my own statement. I would say, if this, then what? Because that was a condition based thinking. This is the condition. So if this happens, then what? And then today, as I'm going through this, thinking of which ways to get through the chaos, I decided, you know what? Whatever. It is what it is. I'm going to let it go. I don't even care. Forget it. So what? Because I was like, if this is the problem, then what is the solution? And I just had to let it go, because every time I would go, if this, then what? It would create more conditions. And I had to recognize, I'm not a damn computer. We program a computer based off of conditions. And that's how it begins to think, off of conditions. We are not computers. So I have to move from conditions to intentions. That's when it hit me. Because that's what happens. It hits you. It's not us thinking about it. It just hits you out of nowhere. The light bulb, bing. It said, when this, then that. Because again, a computer, you will program conditions. Computers don't have free will. So this is how they determine themselves. That's why it's like we're afraid of AI, but why? You have free will. So having the free will means that there is intention, or should be intention, behind what I do. So instead of if this, then that, when this happens, then that. So not if this, when then. Ooh, that sound pretty nice. When then. So when this happens, then I will. Because we always want to shift the power back to us. You always want to shift the power back to you. I know a lot of times we see people pointing fingers at other people and blaming, and it seems powerful. That is not powerful. In the moment, you might get out of that situation and escape. But later on, you're going to pay for that. And that later on is when everybody's gone, when nobody's around. If a tree falls down in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? It does. You just didn't hear it. When nobody is around, what sound do you hear? Is it a positive expression or a negative expression? Negatives are, oh, this person did that to me and it was that person's fault. And if it wasn't for this person, I would be this far. And the positives are, you know what? I did that and I could do better. I'm proud of myself for this, even though maybe I didn't go as far as I thought. You take the power back to you because you can always adjust. If I blame somebody else, I better hope that they're going to adjust, that they will change, that they will become better. There's no guarantee of that. That's a possibility. We want probabilities. And there's a greater probability that if you had the power, you could do something about it. I know if they didn't, if that, right. If this, then that, the conditions. To take your power back, you say when, then. It's not if they didn't. When they do this, then I'll do that. Have you heard that saying? When they go low, then I'm gonna go lower because we doing the limbo. No. When they go low, then we go high. Because if they going low and we going high, we jumping over that. When, then. For Romans 12:2, it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, not of somebody else's. This isn't about them. This is about you. This is why they said they not like us. Because they are more concerned about them, others, everything else. Us, we're trying to figure out how we can do better. We are being transformed. They are wanting to transform. When you transform and renew, this is what we're talking about. Moving from condition to intention. So at one time, that made sense to me. I said, oh, if this, then I'm going to use that. Because I was coming from not even thinking, not even having a condition-based or an intention-based thinking. I was being programmed. I would watch the news. I would listen to social media. I would be affected by everything I seen, heard, it would become a feeling. And I would go out and say, did y'all hear what this? And you know, if this, I was spreading that program because I was programmed. So to move from being programmed to the programmer, you set conditions. Okay, if this, then that. And that is what allowed my mind to then be renewed, which allowed me to experience a transformation, to say, that's not going to work anymore. When this happens, then I will. Because if you just hear that, when this happens, then I will. It lets you know right there everything that we need to know. When that happens, then I will. So if that didn't happen, then what's there for me to do? Instead of just running around all over the place trying to do any and everything, losing control, feeling chaotic, feeling all over the place, allowing people to push and pull. And as soon as they say this happens, now I'm reacting to that. I say, no, when this happens, then I will. And that's allowed not just today to be more in my control and to go a lot smoother. But it allowed me to understand what was happening yesterday and the day before that. And it allows me to see what can happen after this. Because I'm like, okay, when this happens, then I will. As I'm developing that understanding of myself, because I'm understanding what I will do. I don't know what you will do when this happens. That's why it doesn't say when this, then they will. When this, then you will. It says when this, then I will. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Never mind theirs. What everybody else has to say, has to do, thinks about it, feels about it. That's them. As we focus more on ourselves and improving ourselves, we will have greater results when we do go around them. We will have a greater experience, a greater life. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Are you waiting for an if before you take action? Or are you embracing your power in the when? Not the wind, the when. Waiting for an if or embracing your power when. Would you rather wait or take action? Sometimes you need to wait and then you take action. When, then. When it's time to take action, then I will. When it's time to wait, then I will. Either way, it's you that is in power. So the question is, what are you feeding the system? Your system, you. What are you feeding it? For remember, I said, why are we afraid of AI? Because somebody told you to be afraid of AI. So therefore, you work similarly to AI. AI is programmed. It only uses what you put in. AI did not just wake up one day and just decide what to do. You are programming it. People are programming it. They are putting in what it should think about, how it's going to operate. I do it every single day. With the AI components that I use, if you want to generate art, you have to put something in and then it'll generate. You can't just look at it and say work and then it does something. You have to put in and then you get out. If you put in your mind, the negativity, the doubt, the limitations, you know what it's going to process? The negativity, the doubt, the limitations, and it's going to produce, it's going to generate that for you. You're going to see fantastic pictures of fear, doubt, and limitations. They're going to be in HD. They're going to be clear. It's going to be dragons, fire, everything. It's going to be a whole movie. Just like if I wanted to, I could put into that AI the same thing and it would produce just that. So if you are inputting the negativity, it's going to output the negativity. If you begin to feed your system self-mastery, empowerment, clarity, uplifting, inspiration, it will operate with confidence and purpose. You only operate off the shit you put in. So if you're wondering what you're getting out, go back to the input. What did you put in? If you didn't put in nothing, what you supposed to get out of that? Nothing. If you put in fear, you're gonna get fear out of that. And I was having a conversation earlier today with a close friend of mine, and we were talking about, now that I think about it, just like this. Because he was saying that he didn't understand why people aren't willing to put more into themselves. When we will go to work every single day, put in 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and not expect to be paid for 2 weeks. Yet for whatever reason, we won't put in the work on ourselves, yet we expect something different to come out of that. We want instant gratification when it comes to ourselves, whether it's working out in the gym, reading, developing your mental, uplifting your spirit. You want instant gratification. You want to meditate and then all of a sudden manifest, like immediately. You want to go to the gym for a week, work out, and come out as a bodybuilder. Yet you will put in 8 to 12 hours of work on somebody else's job and not expect them to pay you for a whole 2 weeks. We either have a greater appreciation for working for others than we do working for ourselves or working on ourselves, or we have a disbelief when it comes to ourselves. That we must not believe that if we put in that work, that we're actually going to get anything out. So we believe that working for somebody else, I'm going to get paid. Why? Because there's a system set up that says so. So you don't believe that if you set up your system to produce for you, you put in the self-mastery, the empowerment, the clarity, you don't think it's going to produce a purpose. Yet you believe your purpose is to go work for somebody, to put in the hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, and allow them to purposely shortchange you, to purposely make an excuse of why you don't deserve more when you know you do. When do we commit to ourselves and stop complaining about everything else? Because I'm tired of not being paid by my boss. I'm tired of putting in all this work. I was just in a Lyft this morning where my Lyft driver was talking about how he has to work 12 hours for $100 and how this company doesn't care about him. Uber don't care about him. Uber Eats don't care about him. DoorDash don't care about him. They just bring all these drivers on, and now all of a sudden we're all part of the system. And we never think, or we do think, that's not okay. Yet we never put the intent in to change it. So I ask, are we not renewing our mind? Because if we were renewing our mind, we would be transformed. To renew our mind is not to accept the same shit we've been accepting, that my parents was accepting, that my grandparents was accepting, that, oh, well, I just got to do this. And hey, oh, well, I'm not going to be paid. What? Huh? Because in that same conversation, and this has never happened to me, I've never been in an Uber or a Lyft or with a driver that was that comfortable that they say, hey, I'm going to answer a personal call while you're in the car. And on this personal call, I heard the person that they were talking to suggest to them that they can actually make a living from driving. And their response was, well, not really. And then they were given an example of somebody else who did it and how they did it. And then what their response was, well, I don't want to do that because of this. And I don't want to do that because of this. And that's fine. Yet, if we're being transformed by the renewing of our mind, when we hear that, we should understand, if I do want to make it, this is how I'm going to have to do it. When this happens, then I will. Versus if, then. He's thinking, if I did, but then I won't. And if I, conditions produce the problems. Intentions produce the actions. So thinking with conditions, we're always going to see the problem or the thing that hinders us from not doing it. When we think with intention, we're always going to act on that. And therefore, when we look around, everything is different. As a man thinketh, so is he. So if I think in doubt, then that's what I am. And this is something that I've personally seen. So instead of always using someone else's life, which I don't do, I can use my own and say, as I used to think in fear, that's what I was, fearful. I've said it many times. This is now a year of this. When before I was so fearful, I wouldn't even do a month of it. It was inconsistent. Because all I thought was, if I do this, then somebody's going to say this. And then if they say that, then somebody's going to say this. And if I do that, then this. All those conditions created problems. And I had to realize after the fact, I didn't know it as it was happening. The one thing I had to do was put myself out there. Say, you know what? All right. Deep breath. We're just going to jump. When I jumped, I said, when I jumped, then I realized, I believe I can fly. When I jumped, then see, as long as I was sitting on the sidelines thinking, if I do this, what'll happen? I really wanted to, just like you really want to. But you're thinking, if I do it, then how are they going to feel? So what? When you do it, then how will you feel? How will you be? How will you act? How will you think? How will your life be inspired every day forever? When? You only operate off the shit you put in. It's time that we start to reprogram our system so that it operates and works for us, so that it produces for us. You planting seeds in somebody else's soil, and then you get mad when they won't let you come collect. It's my soil. Why you put your seeds over here? You begin to put your seeds in your own soil, and what that produces is now yours. And from there, you can show another person. As long as we going over to somebody else's soil, planting our seeds, we can't show nobody nothing. We all just in the same boat. Oh, you didn't get anything? Me either. But I gave them all my seeds. I gave them all my seeds too. And they don't want to help us. That's selfish. It might be. Or was it selfish for you to think that you was going to give all your seeds to somebody else and they was going to give you something? Think about that. You didn't want to put in the work yourself, so you figured I would go work for somebody else, and it made life harder. Am I talking about quit your job and go be an entrepreneur tomorrow? No. Talking about quit worrying about everybody else, quit doing everything for everybody else, and start doing something for you. Change the way you think so you can change the way you eat, so you can change the way you live. And if you change the way you live, you will change the way you eat, and you will change the way you think. You only operate off the shit you put in. You're starving because we ain't putting in. We're putting out. And every time we put out, we're tired. We lack the energy. We lack the ability. When you put in, there's no lack. There's only abundance and prosperity. Yet again, don't think it's going to happen overnight. You want to close your eyes and manifest? Mm-mm. You have to develop yourself. Remember, I said I was coming from not thinking. So I had to have a condition-based thinking to teach me how to think, to understand my way of thinking so that I can be now on an intentional based thinking, which allows me to act. So what can we do to do that? What can I do? I would love to do that. How, sons? Oh, no. No, let me stop. Because we always want to empower, and to empower, we got to give you the tools that you can use. Shout out to Red Claw Conjure for that one. Practical step to reprogram your mind. You ever heard of an audit? They come audit a business, they audit in your taxes. Audit your thoughts daily. Go through them, check them, reflect on that day at the end of the day and say, what was I caught up on? Where did I lose myself a little bit today? What areas can I possibly improve in? How can I begin to let things go, to release and not hold on to everything? What areas in my life feel chaotic, and how can I bring order into them? Audit your thoughts daily. Did you know that simply by asking questions, you will receive answers? I didn't. Because in my head, I grew up and they said, don't ask, no questions. And that's why I was hard headed and stubborn, because I'm asking. So they say, go do this. Excuse me, what? Why you want me to do that? Matter of fact, this is when I really truly learned a lot about myself. It was when I was in the Marines. And I remember a situation when we were in Afghanistan. Do you understand me? We are in Afghanistan, in the shit, as they say it. And I'm watching people make decisions, and I couldn't understand why the hell they would make that decision. And yet these people are supposed to be in charge of me. They're leading me. This is my leadership. You understand? And I respect leadership when it is respectable. Well, your title don't mean nothing to me. Your character does. So I don't care that your title say that. I've seen a lot of people with titles that how they get that? They ain't deserve that. And the person under them actually didn't have that title, but they had all that responsibility. And so while I was in Afghanistan, my life is on the line. Do you understand this? We could die any day. The first week I was in Afghanistan, I heard a bomb go off so big, my body shook. Seriously. And just for context, we're not glorifying anything, but just for context, okay? Young black male, born and raised, or I was born in Chicago Heights, moved all around Chicago. When I was a little kid, it was nothing to hear gunshots and stuff like that. So that was nothing new. But to feel a bomb, huh? Mama! That's how I felt. Boom! And then all of a sudden, you shake. At that moment, I realized. Matter of fact, when I first landed in Afghanistan and that door to that C-130 opened up and the sun hit me and I stepped off, the first thing that this is hilarious to me now. It's hilarious to me now because I've been through it and I can look back and laugh at myself. Soon as I stepped off and got in the sand, I said, oh, damn, we in Afghanistan? Hey, let me get one of them cigarettes. Now I'm smoking cigarettes because I'm like, what? It just hit me like this is where it didn't hit me the whole flight over there until we got over there. That door opened up. You saw that light hit. All you see is sand for miles. And they said, get off. And I got off and I was like, let me get one of them cigarettes. It's nerves. And so I had to realize like my life is in my hands. Like my life is on the line. So I got to shape up. Can't be slacking, can't be lacking. I got to be on my P's and Q's. Training steps in. Remember, I grew up, it was nothing to hear gunshots. People died. Like that was nothing to me. It's sad to say. I'm not glorifying that. That shit is sad to say. Yet it gave me an understanding that I'm not here looking for that. You feel me? I ain't here looking to kill somebody, to take a life, to shoot. Boy, I done been through that. I'm not trying to get shot. If we can go through this deployment smooth, hey, I'm good. That's not how it was around me. And so I began to question things. because I had that ability. I was the point man. And a lot of times I was the driver, the machine gunner. I was in those positions where I had to make a decision. As a point man, I have to create the route that we're going to take. You got to trust me to go through this. That's what I said. A lot of times, what's sad is you might put a person in front, you might give them that responsibility simply because you don't want to take it on. So again, you might put me in the front because you see that the point man is usually the highest casualty rate. So you don't want that. So you in the back now. So you think you're safe. I couldn't worry about that. I had to worry about me. I'm in the front. So you put me in the front. So, I'm this serious to me. I'm make sure everybody gonna be safe with me around because I'm going to do my due diligence. So if you tell me something, I'm gonna question that. Whoa. Why are we doing this? And that was a problem because a lot of times what they want is just blind obedience. Run up that hill and you just run. Run up the machine gun hill. This is what people used to talk about. And for me, it say run up that hill and I'm gonna say, hold on, wait, why? What we doing? Huh? So I was labeled as insubordinate just because I was asked questions. By the end of that deployment, after we had got back, I received an apology. That taught me everything. Because I wasn't being insubordinate just to be insubordinate. I wasn't just questioning just because. No, it's because in my heart, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. In my heart, I was really concerned. In my heart, I really was concerned. I really wanted to get back home. I really wanted to get back home. And I wanted everybody to come with me. So if you put me in charge and in my heart, I believe that means I'm a leader, then that's what I am. And as a leader, I'm going to ask questions because I need answers. I want understanding. I want to know what goes into this decision. Why are we doing this? And so I had to audit my thoughts daily while I was over there. This is when I learned about myself and that it's okay to follow my heart. That shit may hurt right now because I got in a lot of trouble. And they couldn't understand how he always getting in trouble and then he get out of it. I got in trouble. They sent me to the flight line. Do you know I was in Afghanistan building the flight line for the planes to land on? This is 100-degree heat, over 100 degrees heat. We lift in 18-foot and 12-foot panels that are like 75 pounds each. Like this was crazy. And we got it done in record time. The lieutenant colonel wrote me a letter. What is it? Was it a LOI? Either way, it was a letter of recommendation. By the time I get back to base, my first sergeant calls me into his office and now he mad. How the hell are you getting in trouble? And I got a lieutenant colonel writing me a letter of recommendation. And all I could look at him and say, first sergeant, it's because I told you. Like I shouldn't have been in trouble in the first place. They couldn't understand. I didn't understand it either. I didn't understand why I was getting in trouble. They didn't understand how a troublemaker could be getting recommended, could be getting kudos. Everybody's saying this young Marine right here. Because while it's going on, you don't know. Your job is to keep going, to keep following your heart. It ain't going to make sense. Shit is going to suck. It's going to be hard. Your job is to keep going, to keep following your heart. I had doubts because every time it was like getting reprimanded, getting in trouble, getting yelled at. Somebody want to fight me. Like, what's going on? But I never wavered from that. And at the end of the deployment, not my direct fire team leader who I had issues with, not the squad leader who was backing him and I had issues with, the platoon sergeant, the platoon commander, the company commander, and the battalion commander is who I got not just apologies from, but recognition. That's when I said, it must be something to this. I got to find a way to continue to follow my heart, to embrace myself and follow that, because that's what got me out of it. I could have played the role like everybody else and just fit in and just said, went along with it and accepted everything, but I didn't. And I believe that helped some of my Marines get back, because there were times where we would go out and come back and somebody would go on the same route and we'd be hearing over the radio, damn, we just left from over there. Am I trying to say that I saved them? No. If you're hearing this and you think this is about me, then you're not understanding. Because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't sit down and decide to think about what I'm going to do. I just followed my heart. I started to audit my thoughts as I'm sitting on this post, as I'm in this foreign country. Now I'm thinking, okay, so why am I having that thought? Why did I feel this way? What is it? And that was powerful because I would never do that before. So there was no reprogramming the mind, because I didn't think you could reprogram the mind, because we're only told that we're powerless and there's nothing you can do. And the people who told you you were powerless are the men that thinketh that they are powerless, so they are powerless. So they pass on powerlessness to you, or they are those who believe that they get power by controlling others. They are powerless and they pass that on to you. And I had to unplug from that in order to plug in to my power. I had to eliminate toxic inputs. What content, relationships, or habits was reinforcing my limited thinking. There was certain content that maybe I was reading, maybe I was tapping into. There were definite relationships that I was around that created habits, and it all limited me. And I would say, but if I do this, then that. Conditions creating other problems. It wasn't until I realized that when I did this, then that happened. When I followed my heart, then that happened. Now it's when I follow my heart, then I will lead myself from chaos into peace. When I don't follow my heart, then I will lead from peace into chaos. So now, anytime that's happening, I just identify, okay, when did I leave? When did this happen? Or what was it that happened? Because if I'm in chaos, then I must have come from peace. And if I'm in peace, then I must have come from chaos. Don't just move without ever auditing, without ever reflecting, because that is what true thinking is. So how I think now is through reflection. I'll reflect back and think on what was it, and now I can see what it was, Instead of sitting here in the moment in chaos trying to think my way through it. To become the master is to align with divine wisdom, not to claim superiority, but to embody the ability to clarify structure and purpose. So to align with divine wisdom is to realize, well, I ain't got all the answers. I don't even know what I'm doing. Show me the way. So as a man thinketh, so is he. So I reflect to think. So as we reprogram, you audit your thoughts daily. You eliminate toxic inputs and you affirm your power. These are your practical steps. Reprogram your mind by auditing your thoughts daily. Eliminate toxic inputs, the content that you're watching every single day, scrolling, the relationships that you have in your life, controlling, and the habits that are reinforcing all your limitations. And then affirm your power. Speak life into your life, into your reality. To speak life, remember, life here is to live inspired every day, forever. So how do we speak that into our reality? You never stop prospering. It requires effort daily. So what does this mean? Let's go back to our acronym for LiEF. You want to speak life, you must listen, invite, verify, and express in order to experience. Listen to what you've been saying. Listen to what you're being told. Invite it in, which means you are saying, yes, you can come in. Right now, you're not saying that. You're allowing anything to come into your mind and just do whatever it wants to do. So go open your door and leave it open and just let people walk in and out of your house and take whatever they want. Because that's what we're doing. Yet if you want to live an inspired life, you must listen and invite it in. You can come in, you cannot. As you invite in, you're going to verify, is this for me? Matter of fact, did this even come from me? Have you even realized that some of the thoughts that you have didn't even come from you? It's not your voice. Somebody else. You think it's yours because it's in your mind, because you haven't verified if it came from you or where it came from. You just allowed it to come in. You didn't ask it, hey, can I see your can I see your past, please? How did you get in here? Are you even supposed to be here? Is that Deborah Cox that I hear in my head? She got a song like Nobody's Supposed to Be Here. That's what I want you to say. Like, are you supposed to be here? Ain't nobody supposed to be here right now because I didn't invite you in. So why do these thoughts keep popping in my head? They're not mine. You can remove them. They can go away when you listen, invite, and verify. Because then you express. Whether you express that through verbal, written, or mental, or all three. That expression after you listen, invite, verify, and express is going to create another experience. Don't believe me? Don't trust me. Trust yourself. Don't try to prove me wrong. Prove yourself right. Don't try to prove them wrong. Prove yourself right. You doubt it? Prove yourself right then. Test it. You don't think you're capable of doing it? Prove yourself right then that you ain't capable. I dare you. Matter of fact, I double dog dare you. If you can hear a double dog dare and not do it, boy, you from another planet, because I can't. You double dog dare me to what? I'm about to go do it. I dare you to prove yourself right. To say, I'm not capable of doing that, science. I know you can, but I can't. Okay, go prove yourself right that you can't do it. You might realize, you might be surprised. Is that Iago in my head from Aladdin when he said he got toasted? That man said he was burnt. He said, you'd be surprised what you can live through. It's one of my favorite movies too, coming from childhood. You be surprised what you can live through. For when you actually listen, invite, verify, and express, you're going to be surprised at what you have lived through. That should empower you because you lived through it. Think about that for a minute. Close your eyes and think about how you go through something. We keep talking about all these problems. I had to go through this. You never think about it. You went through it. So where you at right now? You ain't in it. Man, I had to get through all of that. Yeah, you got through all of that. Have you ever stopped to listen, invite, verify, and express that? That you made it through? Or are you still believing that you in it? You ain't in it. And like Laura London said so eloquently, it's not on you. It's in you. It ain't on you. It's in you. It's in you to make it through. It's in you to keep going. It's in you to believe. It's in you to develop. It's in you to be uplifted. It's in you to be inspired. It's in you to be empowered. It's in you to prove yourself right, to prove yourself righteous. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Did you know that? We say we wear our heart on our sleeves. I was one of them. We put our hearts out there for anybody. We give our hearts away. And even people will say that they're heartless. So if you're heartless, everything you do is heartless. You heard of you just heard earlier me say, as a man thinketh in his heart. You also heard me say, I follow my heart. We are all on this planet hoping, praying, wishing to love. Because that is heartfelt. Yet how many of us are guarding our hearts? Because I see more people with broken spirits that lets me know they were brokenhearted. I was one of them people. When I didn't guard my heart, it broke my spirit. And nobody cared. Matter of fact, it wasn't until I started guarding my heart that all of a sudden everybody cared. Because now I'm protective of that thing which powers my life. Everything I do flows from my heart. If you can't hear my heart when I speak, you have no ears. But that's not even a concern of mine because I know where I'm speaking from. This isn't a mental discussion. I don't sit down and think about what to say to you. If I sat down and thought about what to say to you, then I could never tell you to live an inspired life. I don't know what to say to you half the time. Shit, to be honest, half the time that I'm talking for this hour, I'm thinking I'm saying nothing. Gibberish going over your head. Sometimes I think I sound completely ridiculous. But the one thing I know is that I'm talking from my heart. So let it sound ridiculous. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Verily, with hardship comes ease. Verily, with hardship comes ease. This is from the Quran, 94:6, which tells us that as things get harder, they also get easier. So, in the reverse, ease will create hardship. So, you want everything easy, that's why it's going to get harder. Think about us. In our early years of life, we want everything so easy that the later years of our life, shit is so damn hard, we don't know how we're going to make it from Monday to Sunday. Yet when we realize that we are here to make hard shit easy, we don't avoid the hardships. We board them. We get aboard them. Where's the hardships at? Those are the ones I'm getting on. Because we're going to have smooth sailing on this hardship. Oh, you want to get on the easy ship? Well, you're about to go through some storms. I hope. May the force be with you. You're avoiding hard things because you want it to be easy. And then we wonder why life is harder. You know what the hard things are? For you to be disciplined, not in what they tell you to be disciplined, in the things that you know you're supposed to be disciplined in. You know you're supposed to get up and do this or do that before you go to sleep or act, and you don't because you're tired. I know you done put in 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours on day shift, and you know you're supposed to put in just that extra little time for yourself. You know you're supposed to put in that extra little time with your child, but you make the excuse and you don't because I had a hard day at work. You know you're supposed to put in that extra time with your spouse, but you don't because you said, man, I had to go through all of this. I'll be damned. I was on that easy ship. Everything was easy. I was living the life. I had a spouse. We had a house. I had my kids. I was going to work. So it was easy. And I would come home and say, not today, because I'm tired and I'm sleepy. And all that easy shit made my life hard as hell. Because when the storm hit, I lost everything. And then I realized, oh, because I wanted it easy. Because I was making the excuse that no, I can't do that. I can't do that's hard because I'm tired. I looked back and saw where, damn, I took this for granted. Took that time for granted. That was when I was, if this, then that. If I work hard, then I'm going to go home, go to sleep. Because then, hey, you know how hard I work to put food on this table? Fuck that damn table and fuck that food. Excuse my language. But don't excuse my language. Because this is from the heart. And this is my life. And that's the stuff that I would say. That's what I thought. That I had some badge because I went out there and did all that for somebody else, that now you're supposed to respect me for that. Nah. What's hard is going and doing that and still doing what I know I'm supposed to do. So all that is secondary. I do nothing but hard shit. And I'm not the one that said it was hard. I discipline myself. That's what's hard. Because I want to be out there too, having fun, partying. I want to do what everybody else was doing at one time. But I said, nope, I got to sit here and do a live today. So that means I can't do certain things today that I normally would have done. I have responsibilities tomorrow, so I can't do those certain things. I want to go see my daughter play volleyball this weekend. So I can't do certain things. I have to discipline myself if I want to be able to go there. If I want to show up and prove to her that it don't matter how long that I worked and all that I did throughout the week, none of that matters. I'm still going to be here. Don't matter how many hours I had to travel by plane, train, if I got to walk, damn it. I ain't even going to tell you that. Just show up. Because verily, with hardship comes ease. Me putting in the hard work will create ease later on. And I've seen that in my reality. And I know that you have seen it or will begin to see it in your reality. So I want to ask you, what are you programming into your mind daily? And is it empowering you? What are you programming into your mind daily? And is it empowering you? Normally, we do 3 questions. I'm going to give you one. Where in your life have you been waiting for permission to act instead of embracing your power? Where in your life have you been waiting for permission to act instead of embracing your power? The power was always yours. Excuse me. The power was always yours. So, as a final thought, you are not separate from your power. You are your power. You are not separate from your power. You are your power. The only difference between chaos and order is you're willing to take ownership and direct your energy. The only difference between chaos and order is your willingness to take ownership and direct your energy. And you ever notice how all these ships, you the captain of the relationship, the situationship, the ownership, the hardship, all these ships. I think it's time we need to recognize that we must be the captain because our life is full of ships. Take ownership. I have said, you are God's, and all of you are children of the Most High. I ain't say that. I know it said I. I have said, you are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. Psalm 82:6. Do not be led by fear, be led by wisdom and power. Do not be led by fear, be led by wisdom and power. Ancient Gnostic teaching. So this week, it's the challenge. Oh, I'm gonna start posting these challenges on my Instagram. I like that. Oh, that was a good idea. Thank you for that. The challenge for this week is to act as if your power is not something you must earn, but it's something you already have. Walk in it, own it, direct it. The challenge for this week is to act as if our power is not something that we earn, but we already got it. So if you already have the power, what does that look like? How will you walk in it? How will you own it? How will you direct it? And cut. I want to thank you for being here.